Hi, and welcome to a brief seminar on health and wellness with Modere products and what I consider to be the core four for good health. My name is Larry Brooks. I'm a Platinum Elite social marketer with Modere, but was with the legacy company for some 21 years prior to the launch. And that stands me in good stead for the products that Modere markets. What's really changed is not the products, although some have been upgraded and actually improved, which I didn't think was possible, but the way that we market those products is where the dramatic change is. And what I'd like to do is to take you through my own thoughts on the core four nutritional supplements. And I hope this helps you understand as a social marketer the way our products work, and also, of course, your potential and prospective customers understand how and why these products are so important in their life. So I hope you enjoy this and get a lot of benefit from it. Let's start at the beginning. The motto for Modere is live clean, and it's not just about living longer, it's about the quality of life. I'll be honest, I don't really want to live to be 150, but I'd love to live to be 100 and die fit and healthy. That's the important thing to me. And the staggering fact of life today that the age of life expectancy has increased into the 80s, whereas the age of long-term chronic illness has reduced to 61. And that means that a lot of people are living the last 20 years of their life when they really should be enjoying themselves in very poor health. And that's not the best way to be. And a practitioner once said to me some very wise words: the best way to cure anything is never get it in the first place. And I've had the benefit of working for some 20 years amongst hundreds of practitioners. I'm not a nutritionist, I'm not a doctor, I'm not qualified, I'm not an expert on products, but I'm an expert product user, and I know how and why these things work so well. I also happen to be the chair of trustees for the biggest cancer information charity in the world today, and this says for something good health that's very close to my heart. So let's get started. The core four of health and wellness are the mineral solutions and their classic version, which we'll talk about in a moment, protozymes, the good gut bacteria, beneficial bacteria, cell protect to protect against free radical damage and the oxidization of the body, and omega-3, really good quality fish oils. Mineral Solutions it's been a #1 selling product for the legacy company for over 20 years. It provides all of the minerals and vitamins that we would have got from fresh fruit and vegetables grown locally to where we lived and eaten in season 60 years ago. Plus the B vitamins and amino acids, which are so important to the way that we work. You know, the way our body functions is very important. And a lot of people out there, for example, are taking a multivitamin tablet and don't realize that unless they have sufficient minerals, of course, then, you know, the multivitamins they're taking are going through the body, not being used and going straight down the toilet. Some of us have the healthiest toilets and sewage systems in the world. This product is also suitable for vegetarians and vegans. Very important. It really is there for everybody, right from the smallest child, you know, a quarter of a teaspoon for a young child to 15 ml, a tablespoonful to an adult, to someone who's fit and healthy and wants to remain so. If someone is low, their immune system is low, they're overtired, they're being overstressed. For example, I've had situations where I'm a type 2 diabetic. I take the second version, you're going to see the classic, but there are times when I actually take 2 lots a day, one in the morning and one in the evening, simply to get my body levels up and get my immune system and help it become stronger. It's a support system and very, very easy to take. It's lovely. It's a fruit tasting liquid support system. Older people love it, children love it, people that don't taking tablets love it, and it really is providing in one easy shot a lot of the things that we're now missing from 50, 60 years ago. The classic version is a sugar-free formula. Now, I'm a type 2 diabetic, so I've got all the vitamins and minerals I need, rice protein concentrate to really help my body work, and I know that when I take this, I'm getting the energy lift that I need. I sleep better, and I don't get the cravings, quite frankly. You know, if your body is lacking a mineral, then very often your body is telling you to seek it in a food. So if you're lacking potassium, for example, you might have a craving for potato crisps or chips or potatoes. It's that kind of situation. When you give the body the minerals that it needs and you stop some of the craving, it actually becomes easier to manage your weight system because you're not eating all the rubbish that you're looking to fulfill your body's requirements with, this urgency that's coming out. Then we move on to protozymes. This is my absolute favorite product. You know, people say, oh, you are what you eat. Actually, it's not quite true. We are what we assimilate, what we digest from the food that we eat. And we don't digest our food. Our gut bacteria digest your food. And we have trillions of bacteria inside us, billions in the gut. Again, when I was a child, and I'm 64 years of age today, my grandmother used to go out shopping every day locally. She would buy from the butchers, the bakers, the greengrocers, and she'd bring back potatoes, a lot of you remember, that had eyes on them and had mud on them, and carrots that had roots on them, and all these different things. And that's where the bacteria was. Inside food like that contained good beneficial bacteria. And we need at least 5 billion a day in our gut just to replace what we lose naturally. We should be, in round terms, 80% good bacteria, 20% bad. And the way I explain it to people is very simple. You know, if you had a factory where the engineering company was producing metal parts and there was swarf on the floor, and every night 100 cleaners went in to get rid of the 4 inches of swarf that had gathered, and the 80 of them worked very well. 20 just sat around, had a cigarette all day long and had a cup of coffee, didn't really do very much. They were the lazy, bad workers. It didn't matter, the factory floor got cleaned. But then it got to the stage where 40 and 60 of them became the bad cleaners and only 40 were good. So the 4 inches of swarf didn't get cleaned up, it got taken down to 1 inch. And the following day it therefore became 5 inches and got taken down to 2, and then 6 inches and got taken down to 3. And suddenly it got to the stage where you just couldn't work properly. There was so much dirt and muck around, it was impossible to work. And that's what can happen in our gut. You see, good bacteria releases the vitamins and minerals from our food, cleans the gut wall, keeps it feeling healthy and looking good, and working properly, helps promote the blood system, the oxygenation. The gut is the engine of our body. We don't get sick, our gut gets sick. So if we want to get better from anything, we need to get our gut better. And it goes right back to Hippocrates in BC, who said all disease begins in the gut. So if we're not getting our new intake of good bacteria every day, very often we're getting a little bit worse and a little bit worse and a little bit worse. And the bad bacteria actually can release toxins from the food rather than good vitamins and minerals. It can actually help form a mucoid plaque that's on the villi, on the walls of our digestive system. And then the food can't get in. And parasites and that are trapped inside that mucoid, and they can actually turn on the gut wall itself to feed, and you get a leaky gut, irritable bowel syndrome, and you're craving more and more food because what you're eating isn't getting into the gut lining to be absorbed, and therefore you start putting on weight and you start getting bloat. You can get bad breath, you can actually get body odor, you can get to the stage where your stools are the wrong color or the wrong texture or extremely smelly, and you know you're out of sorts. Isn't it funny? Someone who's got diarrhea thinks that they're not well, but someone who's got constipation doesn't realize it's exactly the same thing. You're out of balance. Well, the good news is that protozymes are a source of beneficial bacteria that can help restore the balance in the gut. Why should I take protozymes and not other things? Well, first of all, I wouldn't take a yogurt drink because I'm a diabetic and a lot of them have 5 or 6 teaspoonfuls of sugar in them. Secondly, if I'm taking a yogurt drink, my digestive juices are breaking that down on its way to the gut, which can be about a 20-minute journey. So the very simple fact is we're not quite sure how much actually gets there. And some of their adverts on TV today say it's proven that they do deliver to the intestinal system, but they don't say how much of it. Now, protozymes are 5 really important strains of good bacteria, including the one that actually is the orchestra conductor that makes the whole thing work, plus amino acids and a source of food. Why? Because here we have a vegan vegetarian capsule that you swallow. It's a 25-minute time release, so it's down into the gut before, and I'm not a scientist, so don't ask me how they do it. I think it's fantastic. The dried but not dead, they're dormant, not dead, good bacteria are contained in the capsule. 25 minutes later, they're in the gut, and that's where they're released to do their work. So you know it's getting to the right place. I know that when I take mine every morning and every evening, twice a day, I know that my numbers for my diabetes are better. I know that my cravings are better. I know that I retain my weight management much more easily because I'm getting the benefit from the food that I'm eating, and I actually eat less food to feel full. Now that's great for me. How well does it work? Well, it works because not only have you got 5 good strains, but you've actually got the amino acid and you have a food source. And I don't know if you know, but unless the bacteria have a food source to eat immediately they're released, they die. So you've got to have the whole thing working together. And these are so good, they'll actually work topically. You know, if I've got a sore throat, for example, I'll break a couple onto the back of my tongue at night and go to sleep. And it helps by, in layman's terms, eating the badness that's actually there. It can work on a toothache. I've had somebody with a wasp sting, and we've just got some body cream from the Modere range, mixed it into a paste with a couple of protozymes, put it onto the wasp sting, and literally 15 minutes later, the pain had gone and the swelling was starting to go down. Toothache we've had go in 10 or 15 minutes. I'm not saying this is prescriptive. I'm saying these are my own personal experiences. And I know with ladies, if they've got vaginal problems, if they use these as a pessary, it works right on the spot. That's how good they are. And you won't believe it till you start taking them. But believe me, it's a 90-day program. 90 days is a season of the body. So this is not like taking an aspirin where a headache can go in half an hour. Give yourself 90 days. There's a season for sowing and a season for reaping. And you'd never do both in the same season. You wouldn't put grass seed down and expect a lawn in an hour's time, would you? You'd give it time to grow. And if we're going to repopulate the gut, then we need to get the balance, and that takes a bit of time. Some people get results very, very quickly. By the same token, there are times when you need to take more of them because you have a challenge. I did originally. I was taking up to 4 twice a day for a few months, but then I found myself working properly. My stool was correct. I wasn't having body odor. I wasn't getting night sweats. My sugar numbers had come down, and I gradually got down to what I take today, 1 in the morning, 2 in the evening. That suits me perfectly. And with all of the Modere products, the less you take, the better. That's what it's all about. It's about finding a level that's comfortable for you. The third one is Cell Protect. And this is a really powerful, broad-spectrumed antioxidant. Now, how does that work and what does that mean? Well, they're there to mop up free radicals. We all get blasted with hundreds and thousands of free radicals every single day. Free radical damage is like the rusting of metal. It's like an apple or a banana going brown. It's like rubber perishing in the sunlight. And the way antioxidants work is to fight that free radical activity, which is actually signs of aging. You know, graying hair, lines on the face, deterioration of muscle definition, they're all parts of the aging process driven in part by free radical damage. And what Cell Protect does is they mop up free radicals. So they let our body carry on doing what it's doing without having to stop and divert energy to that particular function. I'll give you an example of how you can see how this works. If you cut an apple in half, it will go brown very quickly. If you take an antioxidant, which is lemon juice from a fresh lemon, and squeeze it on one half and cover one half of the apple, that half won't go brown. Why? Because the vitamin C in the lemon is actually protecting it and mopping up the free radical activity and stopping it showing the signs of aging. So by taking 1 in the morning and 1 in the evening, a twice daily tablet, 12 hours apart, then you're simply giving yourself another defense system to help mop up all these free radicals that we're blasted with. Now, I know, for example, if I go on a long aeroplane flight, that I'm going to be subjected to not such clean air as I perhaps would have in my own home. So for 4 or 5 days before I go on a flight, I take 3 in the morning and 3 in the evening. And during the flight, on a long haul flight of 7 to 9 hours, or if I fly to, for example, Bangkok, which is 13 hours, every 3 or 4 hours, I'll take another 3 Cell Protect. Do you know what? I don't come off with the sore throats. I don't come off with the dryness. I don't come off feeling really ill. Other people around me do, because they're breathing air that's been recirculated again and again. And Cell Protect helps me defend myself, and I find that's a really good system. You know, I'd rather not feel bad in the first place than try and recover from that badness. That's the simple fact of life. So Cell Protect for me is great because it's a really broad spectrum antioxidant. It contains things like white pine bark, grapeseed extract, resveratrol, vitamins A, C, and E. It's covering, if you like, the spectrum of the dartboard rather than one individual number. And that gives me a greater defense, and it's easy to take. It's part of my daily regime. Something else which is very, very important is omega-3. It gives me DHA and EPA, the fatty acids that promote brain, heart, and vision. And they're three things that are very, very important to me. You know, it's been reported time and time again that when children are given a good omega-3 fish oil, they perform better at school. Their brain function works better. Their vision improves. It's all part of a good, healthy diet. But what I would say to you is this. You know, Modere is a premium range product. Omega-3 is a really good example of a premium range product. Let me give you a couple of analogies. If you go to the butcher's and you buy a piece of fillet steak, you might be paying £40 a kilo today. If you buy a sirloin steak, you perhaps would buy £30 a kilo. Same cow, two different parts of the cow. Then if you go down the scale, you could buy a stewing steak at perhaps £18 a kilo. Then if you go down the scale, you could buy minced beef at perhaps £8 or £9 a kilo. Or you can buy the same thing for £3 a kilo because it's been padded out with breadcrumbs or other thing, bread to pack it out. And then what's left from the cow, hoof, feet, tail, all the other bits and pieces, is ground together and sold to the companies that make minced beef pies at perhaps 30 or 40 pence a kilo. But when you eat a meat pie that's come from the same source, the same cow, please don't tell me it's as good as a piece of fillet steak or sirloin steak that costs hundreds of times as much. One is the premium end and one is the very cheap end. And better to eat a mince pie than starve. But if you can afford it and give your life to it, it's better to eat a good quality of steak, the same way as it's good to eat organic meat rather than non-organic that's got all the drugs and the bits and pieces in it. But it depends on your pocket and it depends on how important. Now, I have a sign above my desk that says by Yobi Kamada, you best look after your body because where else will you live? You know, if your car falls apart, change it. If your house needs redecorating or starts falling down, rebuild it. But if your body starts breaking down, very often it's too late. And when it comes to a fish oil, I really don't want my fish oils that's come from coastal water fish, where the big fish have been sold to the fishmongers and the smaller stuff has been turned into fillets, and then stuff that's been turned into fish cakes and then fish fingers, and what's left has been squeezed and the oil taken out and put into a very cheap omega-3 oil. It's still fish oils, but it's a cheap omega-3 as opposed to cold water, deep Atlantic fish, which are less contaminated by shipping that's gone around, where the whole fish is then squeezed and the oil taken out. It's checked for any contaminants and phthalates and fuel and anything else that's there. So it's a very clean, pure fish oil. And it has a great high level of DHA and EPA, the fatty acids that our body cannot produce. We have to give it as a supplement. And you know, my philosophy, I said to you, is I want to live to be 100 and die fit and healthy. And I really don't want to take supplements for 30 or 40 years and at 90 find out I took the ones that didn't work. My body's really important to me, so I take the good stuff. And that's why I call these the core four. And what we're talking about here is something where you start with a blank canvas. That's you, that's your body. You can now plan your life and you can plan to have a great quality of food. We all know that good, fresh food is better than processed food. We know that well-cooked food is better than microwave food. We know that raw vegetables or lightly cooked vegetables are better than ones that have been boiled and overcooked like my grandmother used to do. So it's all about not only what we eat, but how it's prepared and the supplements that we take with it what will give us the best possible coverage. And all I can say to you is, hey, is your body worth the investment? For example, mineral solutions, minerals will cost you around 70 pence a day. Wow, that's not a lot of money. Protozymes will cost you less than £1 a day. That's not a lot of money. People spend £6-7 on a packet of cigarettes today. I know I used to be a 60-a-day smoker until 18 years ago when I woke up and said this is madness. Simple fact of life is better not to get it in the first place than try and cure it when you've got it. It's not about how long we live, it's about the quality of life in the way that we live. And that really, to me, is the most important thing. So take a look at these, try some for yourself. The proof of the pudding's in the eating. And when you're using them, you will rave about them and other people want to try them. And do you know what? Sometimes they only need to look at you, or if they know you, know how you're feeling and performing to realize why it's so important to them. Whatever you do, these were my thoughts. It's part of a range of seminars that are available to you as a video. You can download them and share them with your prospective customers and your team members and educate yourself. And that's all I'm trying to do.